We are back to studio now to talk to our last guest, Angus McKechnie, Watch the Space producer. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. How are you today?
Yeah, really good, and there's a bit of sunshine now, which is lovely.
Yeah, that's true. Well, our workshop is nearly finished.
Yep.
In the very beginning, we were all a little bit confused what it's all about, and now we know.
Well, we think we do, don't we? We're standing in the middle of the final product of the workshop, which is, it's that section of the puzzle, spelling out iCulture eventually. And, well, I'm going to put one on now, there we are. So they're going to fill this up and then take its photograph, I think, from above. And then it will be added, I think it's the second one, isn't it? Warsaw's already done theirs.
Yes.
And then we come with number 2 from London. And I think it's Brussels next, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And then Paris, and then I guess all the other 12 partners in that. So we now see it, and we can see the shapes of the letter. We've been on the terrace from the top. You've probably been filming that way as well. So we can actually get a shape. It's starting to look like it should. And they're leaving quite a bit of gaps so they can do some more tomorrow, I think. So there's going to be a little bit more to come. Yeah, it's rather fun. And lots of people have been interacting with all the craftspeople sewing out here. So that's been a great day out here.
Yeah, that's true. That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you also about the performance called Planet Lem. We're going to watch it later tonight, later this evening, about 10 p.m. I know that Planet Lem was here yesterday night, and many Londoners could watch it as well. And how did they respond to it?
Oh, really well, as I hoped they would and knew they would. I was really lucky. I saw a preview of Planet Lem. I went to Poznan to see the company in their hometown, doing an early preview in November. And it was that particularly cold period that happened in November, do you remember? When it was minus 18, and it was so cold, and we all stood there. They brought us cups of tea to warm us up, and we watched the preview. And of course we managed fine because it was so entertaining, even though it was not the best weather for watching outdoor theatre. So I got to see it, and I knew that the London audience would respond to it. Because now you help me with pronunciation here. Teatr Biuro-Podróżskie? That will do. They've been coming to the National Theatre here in London this is their 9th visit to us, and they've certainly done the last 7 years. They've always been part of our festival. So we like to think that the National Theatre in London is their home in London. It's like welcoming friends back rather than just new visitors to the festival, which is wonderful. So when we've had their production of Macbeth, we had a new piece called H of D based on the Joseph Conrad novel that played here. That premiered here actually in this square about 4 years ago. Carmen Funebra, of course, their signature piece of work, has played here. Sphenopolis, that's also played out here in 2 of our spaces. So we know their work here in London, and they've built up through our audience and their own following a wonderful reputation. And of course, it's not just about London. Up at the Edinburgh Festival, they're very, very well regarded up there. Of course, award-winning up there for the production of Macbeth when it first visited. So it's been great to continue that relationship with this show, which of course is on a whole new scale for them. I think the other thing that's quite interesting for us is discovering the work of Stanislav Lem, who we know Solaris, but not a lot else about his work. So it's been a nice mixture. We obviously bring back the theatre, it's the National Theatre, but we've had an encounter with some literature from Poland at the same time. So that's been it's been great to win on kind of 2 fronts with them. And then on top of it, we have this workshop going on here. So and we've had music as well. We had Gabor Kulka last night. We have Marta Karolon tonight. So we've had a real wonderful mixture of Polish culture here today, which has been great.
Yeah, that's true. And what's so unique, so special about Teatr Biuro-Podróży? What do you think?
I think the best way to illustrate that is if we look at the production of Macbeth, the greatest English writer, Shakespeare, and we do Shakespeare rather well in this country anyway, I hope. And the production made us, as a British audience, with our national writer, look at it in a completely fresh way. Now, Shakespeare is wonderful because it's open to such interpretation, but there was something uniquely Polish about the interpretation that came to London, and it was wonderful to see it in such a different light here. All the cruelty, all the violence was heightened. the sense of fascism from the rising dictator. Very, very strong. Also, we regard Shakespeare as a master of words and language, and the dialogue in that production was minimal, pared right down. Very little was left. And so it was absolutely great to see that the story was still there and it carried on even without the complete Shakespeare language in a very dramatic form, very visual, the tableau one after another, equally disturbing as it went on, as the play should be, very dark, very black. And a different skill set in Byora Podushka's work. Obviously their use of stilts, their use of fire, their use of lighting effects, music, are all rather exceptional and special. And to put that on top of a Shakespeare was a really wonderful thing. This couldn't be more different, of course, Planet Lem, with that spaceship behind us over there. Very, very different. And yet still has the same energy, still has that kind of rawness, which is so suitable for outdoor theatre. And as someone who, you know, this is part of a festival, 11 weeks of outdoor theatre here, I look a lot at British companies doing similar work, and, you know, I'll be honest and say the standard doesn't come as high as the work of Byora Podushka with many companies. And I know a lot of British companies look at their work for inspiration.
Yeah, sounds really, really good. And what do you think? What's your opinion? What the iCulture Weekend means for the Londoners?
Well, this is just the beginning. I mean, it's only 3 days with us here, and it carries through. I think it's till the 6th of November. We have the iCulture Orchestra coming to the Royal Festival Hall, which are our neighbours just along the South Bank here. We have Poems on the Underground, and many, many other events. So it's a really full programme. And what is the best way to learn about another nation is through its culture, because it's always deeply rooted in a country's history, in the people's history, and you bring it. And who would have thought that this was ever going to represent Polish culture in London? And yet it does somehow. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity, the iCulture project, for us to exchange, and it's not just a one-way thing, for us to exchange our creative ideas and learn more about each other, which is always a good thing.
Yeah. Thank you very much for a lovely interview. And do you mind to ask our viewers to come back later this evening for the performance?
Oh, they must come back. It's 11 o'clock Polish time, 10 o'clock UK time, and coming live from Theatre Square, which is great for us, because the National Theatre, we run a big programme called National Theatre Live, where we take our indoor productions into cinemas around the world, and all across America, Australia, Canada, now in India, and I believe now in Warsaw. We've just been to Warsaw for the first time. So it's actually part of what we do, is a chance to see work live. That's into cinemas, but here we have, so log back in at 10 or 11, whatever time is relevant, and see this wonderful production. I think it'll look really good on film as well, don't you?
Yeah,
I think it'll look terrific, because it is very cinematic anyway. It feels like watching Star Wars or Battlestar Galactica, so I think it'll look great. So a lot of fun to be had tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Not
And
at all.
you, please remember, we will be back about 10 p.m. for some more. Thank you.